Hey Michael, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, Kira?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm so excited that you're going to be part of our summit this year. So, why don't you start off by telling us a little bit more about yourself?
Okay. Well, I'm a consulting astrologer and a tarot reader. I am also a witch and an educator and a writer and an artist. I'm a choreographer and a performer. I have a consulting practice called Co-Witchcraft Offerings. And then I'm also a university educator. I teach in the Women's and Gender Studies program at Denison University. And I also teach in the Queer Studies and Environmental Studies program. So a lot of my background, but my PhD is in dance studies. And so a lot of my background is in embodiment practices, dance, healing modalities, different somatic practices. And so that's part of where I'm coming from as I shape the talk that I'm offering as part of the summit.
Wow, that you wear a lot of hats, huh?
I do. Yeah, it's true.
That's awesome. Do you have any planets in your midheaven?
No, nothing specifically in that sign, but I have some planets that are in hard angles to the midheaven by sign, but not by degree.
Okay, awesome. I had to ask because I'm like,
Yeah,
wow, that's a lot. I thought I do a lot, but
you do a lot.
we both do a lot, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, awesome. So yeah, tell us more about your talk.
So the talk is called Celestial Corporeality, Astrology and the Body. So I'm thinking about talking about the body and astrology, the body as the grounds for all meaning making and understanding, and really thinking about how rather than situating the body in one part of the chart, like the moon or the ascendant ruler, or like the lot of fortune, or some people think in hemispheres, like the lower hemisphere is more related to the body, the upper hemisphere is more related to the mind. And actually, that dichotomy is part of what I'm responding to, I think. I'm looking at how do we embody the whole chart. And I'm thinking specifically here in terms of natal astrology. And in a sense, can the chart provide a map for us back into our felt embodied experiences of who we have been and who we are, and who we might become. And a lot of this is in response to this pervasive dichotomous thinking that's really all throughout Western civilization, although not exclusively Western civilization, but definitely in astrology as well, that separates the body from the mind or the body from the soul. And that this dualism or this dichotomy is almost always a hierarchy where the body is thought to be less than or denigrated or subordinated in favor of the mind or reason or intellectual capacity or a transmigratory soul, things like this. And that this dichotomy, because it's almost always a hierarchy, um, gets used in terms of the way power operates in different contexts. This binary of the body and the mind gets correlated with or mapped onto other kinds of experiences like female and male, or non-white and white, or civilized and uncivilized, or even nature and culture. And so this way of separating things out, thinking in these binaries or dichotomies, almost always becomes a system of control. And that's part of how we end up with situations like hundreds of years of Black and brown people being reduced to only bodies as objects, or women and femmes being objectified as bodies and nothing more. And I think that this results in a lot of personal but also generational trauma, dissociation and disconnection from the body, and oftentimes as a defense from all of that pain, from all of that suffering that gets channeled or tracked onto the body, we pull further away from the body. But I think that's maybe not the path towards healing. I think that so much of our suffering and our dis-ease comes from our separation, our disconnection, our dissociation from our bodies. And so I'm interested in thinking about how might astrology as a tradition, but also the chart, the birth chart, be a way back to our embodied experiences. And that's really the foundation of the talk at this point.
That goosebumps. I'm so excited for that one. Um, yeah, I saw your talk at was it a talk more like a experience
Yeah.
at QAC, and I'm just really into this whole topic of embodiment through astrology, and I think it's discourse that we don't see too often. So I'm really excited for your talk. I know a lot of other people are probably really excited for it too. So, yeah, thank you so much for being part of it.
I'm so excited. And yeah, there's a relationship between this talk and the workshop at Queer Astrology Conference. That was more of a kind of practical, experiential foundation. And actually, I hope, because that material is still available for streaming for people who registered for Queer Astrology Conference, that people can experience both. That was very much the experiential, and then this is going to be more like laying the theoretical foundation with probably a little bit of experiential work woven through it, but really more asking us to think through, why do we separate the body out from everything else, and what are the consequences of that? Where can we do important healing work through the chart by coming back to our embodied experiences? So I'm excited.
Awesome. I'm excited. That just sounds nourishing. It sounds like something that we'll need.
Mhm.
So yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.